Théophile Seyrig was born in an age when the sound of hammers forging iron was the drumbeat of progress. Europe was laced together by ambition, and the rivers that divided its cities were no longer boundaries, but invitations. Seyrig, a man of meticulous calm, had a mind that pondered quietly even as the world roared with invention. The streets of Paris and Porto pulsed with promise, but Seyrig shunned the bustle. His genius lay not in commanding crowds, but in listening to the mute language of steel and water. He wandered along riverbanks as others did along libraries, searching not for words but for patterns, possibilities. To him, engineering was the composition of sympathy between elements, the yielding curve of iron, the taut certainty of rivets, the faithful patience of stone. His partnership with Gustave Eiffel was one of contrasts. Eiffel visionary and visible, abundant in energy, while Seyrig worked in the margins, scribbling calculations late at night, only interrupted by the soft ticking of his clock. On the banks of the Douro, they sketched out their aspirations, but it was Seyrig who saw beyond the blueprints. He imagined the lives a bridge would touch, the silent witness it would become. Each segment he designed was measured not just for strength, but for meaning. When the Dona Maria Pia Bridge was finished, the crowd's laughter and shouts swelled, echoing off the iron arch. Seyrig stood apart, a shadow among the celebrants. To him, the bridge's beauty lay in its quiet endurance, the way it assumed its place with dignity, not dominance. He watched children race across the span, watched old men pause in the middle to gaze at the river's shimmer, and found peace in knowing that the bridge no longer belonged to him, but to time itself. Throughout his career, Seyrig pressed on with the same tender rigor. He designed and built iron structures across Portugal and France, always with the conviction that his work should blend with the rhythm of the land. He preferred to trust the iron rather than impose himself on it. Every connection carefully weighed, every beam allowed its due respect. For Seyrig, failure was not in the material, but in neglecting its voice. Years faded, Eiffel's name was etched onto towers and textbooks, while Seyrig's lingered quietly under the surface. Yet his bridges remained, weathered but unbowed, carrying generations, commerce, and memories across rivers that once seemed insurmountable. They stand without ostentation, proving themselves with every passing day. At the end of his life, Seyrig left no monument for himself. The bridges were enough. They speak for him still, in a tongue of endurance, grace, and restraint. As travelers hurry across the iron spans, oblivious to their author, the silent builder achieves his greatest legacy, persistence that outlasts recognition. So in the brief hush that comes when footsteps echo softly on steel, Seyrig's triumph resounds. His story, written not on paper, but stretched between riverbanks, reminds us that the world is shaped not only by those who make themselves seen, but by those whose works quietly endure. The bridges, strong and silent, will always know who made them, whispering his name in the passing wind.